Welcome to the Council of Moms, where we're getting stuff done and we're making decisions for you. And we have listener questions this time, and I'm really excited. I'm Lisa Valentine Clark. I'm the mother of 5 kids. I have 3 baby adults and 2 teenagers, 2 that live at home. And I love hosting the Lisa Show. I love acting, doing improvisational musicals and plays with my friends. I like to do a lot of weird things. And that's who I am. And here with me on this council is...
My name is Lavonne Wells, and I've birthed 4 children, and 3 are still with us in physicality. I'm an empty nester, and I love speaking on the power of love and how it heals through grief, and I love supporting people in living life here and now.
Love it.
Awesome. I am Shari Lyon. I'm an artist by trade, and I have 3 kiddos and then 2 in-law kiddos that couldn't love more if I had birthed them myself. I feel very lucky that we gained them. But they're all adults, and so I'm just enjoying my life as an empty nester mostly.
I'm Brittney Phillips, and I am a mom to 4, 1 through marriage, 1 through adoption, and 2 biological children. And the work I do now is I help women who are moms in blended families and kind of help them through that transition into a new stage of motherhood.
This is great. We've got so many different perspectives and just life experiences to take to this question. And this question is maybe, I didn't write it, but it is personal. So I'm just going to dive right in. This question comes from Annika, who was in my head, in Hartford, Connecticut. And she said, "Hi, Council of Moms. I have a 16-year-old son who is a bright, charismatic kid, but who just refuses to care about how he does in school. I want to give him the freedom to make mistakes, but I am worried that he may end up putting himself on a path that he can't come back from if he doesn't manage to finish high school. Do you have any tips for how I can help my son care about his grades?" Let's just get right into it. I mean, there's a lot in that question, right? There's the school thing, there's the relationship. How do you get somebody to care about something? There's also, I think, a little bit of grief about how you thought things were going to go and how they actually turned out. So what do we have for Annika?
And a lot of fear as a mom. Like, you want all your kids to be the most successful, and that
And everything.
it's scary when you're like, I can't make them be successful. It's hard to give them that freedom to, we were talking about like failure in kids and how good it is for them to just really fail sometimes, but really hard to watch and be a part of.
Tell me more about that, though, because I think it lies in the specifics of like what we're letting them. I mean, are we letting them fail in everything? And what does that mean, letting them even?
Right. I know.
I mean, I say it and then I'm like, I don't know if I...
Well, as moms, we want to step into everything. I mean, we want to step in. We don't want them to feel any pain. You know, I wish my kids never had to hurt. But I think we have to ask ourselves with each hard situation, like, would I rather them experience that now when I'm here to help them through it? Or, you know, as an adult when it's going to be harder. Whatever the failure is, it's going to be harder. And I think being able to be there so that you can actively play a role in working through and teaching them, you know, how to come back from failures.
Yeah.
Well, I would put it out there. Honestly, it's time to have a conversation again and do it differently and a different setting. Find out in this conversation that you're going to have with your son, what is his passion? Does she know what his passion is? Mm-hmm. What has he been daydreaming about? What is he thinking? What are his dreams? Now, as parents, we have dreams for our children. They're not their dreams.
Yeah.
So
I know, where do we put them?
Yeah, they're not.
You gotta put them aside.
My dream is not the same for my child. They have a vision for them. So somewhat of I may call it a vision, but there's something they've been daydreaming about. There's something that 16-year-old is into. Is he into anime? I mean, what is going on? Where is the how are the communications going with him to find out what is his heart's desire? Because a lot of times I from my own experience, it's been like selfish. Like my heart desire for you is no. What is your child's heart desire? And in the end, honestly, I've just really, from my own experience as being a mother, realized that truly none of my children belong to me. They are their own individual,
from day
unique,
one.
capital S soul. And they have a vision and they have a dream. And they may not have absolute clarity. Do we have absolute clarity as adults?
Nope.
So what are we expecting these 16-year-olds to have or to be doing? Anyway, that's a big conversation. We'll keep
No, but I like it. Because you're right. We're expecting
even
more
clear.
that we wouldn't even expect on ourselves.
So what is this?
And every kid doesn't have to fit in the box.
Exactly.
I had 3 very different kids who had 3 very different educational experiences, and the box didn't work for any of them. Like all 3 of them ended up doing very non-traditional paths, and the box doesn't work for everyone. It's great when it does as a parent. Like,
I had an older mom. This is why I think it's so great to be friends with people who are different ages, different backgrounds, everything. And we don't know each other super well, but she asked me what was going on or how I was or something like that. And she caught me in a moment where one of my kids, one of the 5, so I can be very vague, nobody knows, was not doing well in school. Like, I was very type A in school, and it was one of my older kids, and so like this was new to me. Like, well, why don't you just care? Because I cared. So just like, what was I thinking? So dumb. The oldest have the hardest time, don't they? Anyway, and I was kind of expressing frustration of like they need a hand in this, and then I don't know if they can get it. And she kind of quieted me, and she's got great kids. I mean, and I knew them. And she said to me, well, what's the worst that could happen? I'm like, they fail out of school and they don't graduate. I thought that was the. She's
Right.
like, that's really not the
It's
worst thing in the
not.
world. And I was like,
Wow.
what? What do you mean? Because to me, that sounded like have a kid fail. Never mind my own ego and everything like that. But like, you go to school every day. You should. This is like the bare minimum. Like,
doesn't
it's not
seem
that
hard.
hard. I was having all of these, self-doubts. And she said, it's really not the worst thing in the world because if they don't care, they can always go back and get their GED. They can still go to college. They can still be on a path to be an independent adult. Like this really, I know how it feels, but it really isn't the worst thing. And she was coming from a place of experience and love. Like, I'm not telling you this to be a brat or like, I'm just
easier to
telling you
look
because
back.
I've learned this. And if you want to learn it too, you can. And it has helped me. I cannot tell you how much it helped me for her to say that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
powerful.
I think one of the biggest teachers, why we're here experiencing life is to learn through trial and error. And we have to allow our kids to make choices and see the consequences from the choices they're making. And yeah, I think we can always guide them and like, here's what I hope and expect from you. But ultimately, they get to make the final call. And what are we making it mean? Like you're saying, if I'm making it mean something about me, then I need to step back and kind of have a reality check with me. That's a me problem.
Well, so, okay, but I want to know, like, on a practical level, like, because there's a lot of people in this situation, at least in my life, where we're like texting each other, like, well, how much do you help? How much are you, like, on a practical level, your kid is not doing well in school, kind of cares, kind of doesn't, whatever. What do you do? Do you meet with the counselor? Do you get a tutor? Do you get involved? Or do you say, you figure it out? I mean, there is such a wide range of advice, but I'm really curious as to like where you would start.
Yeah. I think it's so much depends on the individual child because, like I said, all 3 of mine ended up doing really unique paths for themselves, but they were all very different. And we all had to address it yearly. Like each one of my kids, we had to like reassess, like, okay, is this working for you? Is it not? But our decisions were made based on each individual kid because like I have one, all 3 are on the spectrum, but I have one that really struggles. I have another one that the spectrum causes them to be a super power, and so that one struggles in different ways, and like that's hard. That's what makes it hard is with every kid you have to do it different.
You think you've learned. You're like,
there's
okay,
no
now
one
I got it.
answer.
Now we're going to do this. Wait.
And this wonderful 16-year-old is really being a beautiful mirror for his mother. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. It is a gift, though,
It really is.
to say, well, what really matters here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. A quick story. I was horrible in school. Of course, I didn't have as much support. I grew up in the foster care system. And anyway, I didn't have that cheerleading parental backing me up. And I was horrible. I did make it. And then I remember I went to college for the first year at 18 because I did not want to be homeless.
Wow.
Because you age out and they just,
Yeah.
and then you go. And a friend of mine just said, why don't you just go to college the first year? And I think a teacher told me that. And I went and I stayed in the dorms, failed miserably, had a great year. And I just thought, I've never been good at education. I'm not smart. I'm not da-da-da-da-da-da. And I just remembered a friend telling me, school will always be there. It will always be there. It will always be available. And when I moved to Utah, I started going to school again. And then, of course, I had a child. She passed away. That shifted everything. But that gave me a whole new perspective. And I remember my friend saying, it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
So I decided, let me challenge myself. Finished up, ended up transferring up at the University of Utah. Thought I just didn't think I was smart enough or brilliant enough to do this. Walked away with 2 degrees in my 40s. I graduated from the U in 2012.
That's
so
awesome.
Your son is going to be okay. He's going to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, and my path was crazy. It was crazy to get to that point. But I'm hoping that'll support her and assist her with that because it'll always be there. The key is getting to know exactly what's going on with him. The key is,
why is he struggling?
Yes.
Like, what's underneath there that
Yes.
is there emotional issues? Is there chemical imbalances?
What's going on? And you would know for sure.
Like I had one that was being bullied and I didn't realize it.
yeah.
And
Wow.
and every morning would wake up, would throw up before going to school. And we were seeing every doctor. We were like, and one day it finally dawned on me and I was like this isn't physical. This is emotional.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's always like you got to get to that root cause, which they don't know how to put it into words a lot of times. Like they don't know what they're struggling with. And so.
And I love it. And the reason why I say you would know is because I love when you shared about how unique all of your children are. And you had to do it different with every single child. And we all do.
And you're different. Like the
Yeah.
way
Well,
that I
yeah,
parent
the
now
parent-
is different than I
yeah.
would parent 20 years ago.
That your
Right.
first child got is
And
very
your
different
first
than
child
the
was
parent
quick
than
to
your-
point it out, too.
Yes.
He came home the
All
other
the
day and he
flaws.
was like, oh, is this how we're raising the children now? And I'm like, yeah, sorry. You know better, you do better. Sorry, buddy. And he's like, no, it's fine. Somebody has to be the first pancake. And I was like, I know, I'm so sorry. I was so much harder.
That's such a great.
him.
I always tell my
It's true.
kids,
I
like,
feel
my
so
only
bad.
job as a parent is that you need less therapy than I did. So, so I think we're doing great.
Well, my oldest son, he remembers me chasing him with a broom through the house. So that's about it. Nobody else got the broom, but he did.
Yep.
He got the broom.
I think you make such a good point, though, that it's really all about the relationships and where your heart is. Like, do they know that you support them even when they're not doing what you would choose?
Oh, that's such a good point.
That are you consistently there? Do you care for them through all of it, through the ups and the downs? And I think as we show them that love, 20 years from now, will it really matter that much? Probably not. Like your story, I love that you shared that. That gives some really good perspective. Like, we can always come back to school.
Yeah, I felt like a
Feels big in the
loser.
moment, but
It
no, I'm good
does
with it.
feel big in the moment, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
it feels
and,
like there's huge risks.
Yeah.
and it feels like you're giving up stuff or opportunities. That's the voice
Yeah.
that I've had as a mom had to quiet in my mind.
Yep.
Of like, you don't know what their life path is going to be. You think you know, but it may close some doors and it may open others. Like, just to not get so caught up in that. Like, I don't know, but I appreciate what you're saying is that, we don't parent in a vacuum, and none of these school issues, behavioral, whatever it is, exists in a vacuum. There's always something else going on. And I know that when my husband passed away and here my kids are all grieving and trying to do school, like,
Yeah, that's hard.
I don't know. And I wasn't thinking straight. I was in my own little fog, as you were. And one of my kids just completely failed everything. And I remember at the time going, I should probably care a little bit more about this, but also I just want him to want to be on this earth, and I want him to be okay. More than that. And that's a dramatic example, but I don't think that a lot of us are too far removed from other things. The stresses of just life, I think, affect these kids in a much more intense way than they did for sure 20 years ago, 100 years ago, and yet we're still expecting them to sort of perform as adults.
Perform.
And it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And some of the most beautiful things that have come about in my life have come about because of failures or closed doors.
Ooh, give me an example. This is great.
I was a dancer all growing up, all through high school. I spent my life in the studio, and all I ever wanted to be was a dance teacher, more than I wanted to get married or have kids. Like, getting married and having kids was so on the back burner. I just wanted to be a high school dance teacher. So I turned down full scholarships because I wanted to go right to ASU. And my first semester at ASU as a dance major, I blew both my knees out. And it rocked my world because I had no plan B. I had no other, but it put me on a totally different direction, And so, I think sometimes in life we have to let our kids have some of these doors close because it opens beautiful other paths that we certainly didn't know were out there. And
Wow.
So here's a possibility in that share about, letting the children express themselves and finding out what they're about and what they're wanting and getting to really know them. But also, how about this for adults? What if they actually make choices and it's not a painful consequence? Are we hearing what we're saying and what we're putting out into our home and with ourselves? Does it always have to be a challenge to get it? What if they actually know something that we don't know and they will actually experience success by flunking out of school? What if they're the next Steve Jobs? What if?
Yeah, not a college graduate. Yeah.
Why does it have to always be, if they don't, they're gonna, that's just me being.
Well, it's all
but
fear.
There's it's fear-based.
Our failure more than it is.
There you go.
Fear of their failure.
That's where the love comes in.
Well, and
love
it
on
does.
awareness.
And as I'm hearing you talk, I'm thinking,
Only one power.
I would want to tell you what was going on with my kid. I wouldn't try to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
With the way that you're speaking. And how much more permission could we give each other as women, as moms, if we were a little bit we just shared all of the, they're flunking out, they're not doing well, and we encourage each other more instead of saying, well, it's a struggle, but we'll see.
And what about talking about what about the celebrations? What about the conversations, the celebrations?
Yeah. Right.
Why is it this conversation always about, my child, and my child, and it's going to be, and it's horrible.
Here are these markers that we celebrate and we don't, instead of, there's other markers.
Celebration. My child is struggling in school, but one of the things that I know about my child, he's going to figure this out. Yeah. And you know what else? He's really good with machines.
Yeah, there's so
and
many
he's really
other
creative.
parts.
Yeah.
And because of this, and because I know that there's something to this kid of mine, I don't know what it looks like right now, because right now it's looking kind of crazy, but they're going to do something amazing. And I don't quite know what that is yet, so I'm going to hold space and I'm going to be present for my child in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love on,
Looking
baby.
for those. If your kid is always anticipating, they celebrate everything about me, or they love me, this isn't performance based. my acceptance
It's
into this family.
natural.
It's
Yeah.
just natural. It's just I mean, you're more inclined to take risks, to make bigger choices, I think.
And magic happens. Miracles happen. They start show up in ways, not because you're doing it because you have an expectation, but that's because that's who you are and what you embody. And they're seeing that, they're experiencing that, and it feels good.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful when it clicks and you see it and you can you know, you see them like finally get themselves and you're just it's a
Yes.
beautiful moment.
And then the mama comes back with the 16-year-old and says, guess what? Oh my gosh, he decided to go to a tech school. High school really isn't for him.
Yeah.
He wants to go to a tech school.
Yeah.
And he's just accelerating there. So
And
many
we can all be,
possibilities.
how great that he found his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we're excited about. Just that people were able to live the kinds of lives that they want to, you know?
Yeah.
And they get to decide that kind of legacy. We just have a couple of minutes left. I'd love for us all to like go around and just to this mom, to this question, when it's just about, you know, tips that how I can help my son care about his grades. You know, we really have addressed that, I think, of like, is that what we really should care? I wonder if you could just leave us with like just a last thought.
Yeah, I'll go. I think I love that you're talking about having the conversation. What's your life goal? Sit down. What do you want? Let's make a plan. How can we get you there? Are the choices you're making now helping you get closer or farther from that goal? I mean, these are conversations I've had with my kids, so it's very recent in my mind. But and then let them decide. I'm not going to be able to make the decision for them. I can't go turn in their homework and take their test for them, and any amount of pressure I'm putting on can sometimes make it worse. But I can help them see and then just cheer them on as they try to work towards those goals. So
I love that. Making it a experience.
I'm your cheerleader.
Instead of, well, good luck, bye.
Yeah. Or just laying it out. I just, you know, kind of playing on that same idea. I think kids sometimes lack all of the different perspectives. So I think sitting down and having a conversation about like, okay, here's all the options. You know, this might not be working for you, but what if we do online school? Or what if we go to tech school? Or, you know, like sitting down and giving them input in their own future, you know, because we can't make them be passionate about something that they're not.
right.
And it doesn't mean we just throw up our hands and say, oh, school's not for you then. But we try to help them find the passion for what they are passionate for and then tap into that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And you know me, celebrate what is.
Because that's all you have.
Celebrate what is because
No, but I love that. We need to hear that more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We
live
don't.
in
We're always so humdrum.
Yeah. Systems and society has taught us a certain way, and now these children that are coming up and coming through are breaking
It's
those
not working.
systems.
It's not working for
Yeah,
them.
they're not having it. You know, so for this mom, I would simply say just be present with yourself and be present with your son. Ask questions, and one of the main questions is, what are your dreams? Do you
A lot of
have any
communication.
dreams? You know, how are you feeling?
How
What
can
do
I
you want to
support
do?
you in those dreams?
Yeah, how can we support you in that? Perfect. Support you in these dreams. I get that school is kind of tough for you right now. So if you could do anything, right now in your life, what would that be? And then let them talk.
Wow. Yeah. I love it. I love getting the Council of Moms together. It's good. It's good to share different ideas and get a different perspective. You know, I was this type A. I remember one time I hate telling this story because it reveals I've come a long way, but I got a B in college and I cried. And I told that to my late husband and he made fun of me, and rightfully so. And his whole motto throughout grad school was C's get degrees. So it's okay to reach out and try to change your mind about something.
Yeah.
It's okay. The
Yeah.
world will not fall apart. And I think this is true for anyone asking any question about a teenager, because you do
Yeah.
think the stakes are high.
Yeah.
Right.
But
They're not really as high as you think they
and
are.
I love it. I love having this.
I would
this
have loved
discussion.
these.
I I know. See, like, it just reveals too. I was just like, listen, it was not the right way to be, but here we are.
It's the perfect
I've
way
learned
to
a
be
lot.
because here you are.
And we made it just fine.
Yeah.
We did it, you guys. We did it.